What if I told you that you could build a website in 2026 with AI, send people there to book hotels, and get paid a commission every time someone makes a booking? And no, you do not need to own a hotel. You do not need to create a product. You do not need to deal with inventory. And the craziest part is with this model, you can even control your own markup and decide how much commission you want to make. I make all of my income online, and in the last 30 days, I have made over $59,000. Let me refresh it real quick. $59,338. So, it's fair to say, I know a thing or two about what actually works when it comes to making money online. So make sure to stick around until the end, because I'm going to share a little something extra that could be a game changer for you guys. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this works, the tools you need, the business model behind it, and how people are already making money with this right now. So if you've been looking for a real way to make money online in 2026 using AI, pay close attention, because this is one of the more interesting models I've seen. Let's get into it. So here's the basic idea. Instead of creating your own product, what you're doing is building a platform that sits in the middle of a transaction. Someone visits your site. They book a hotel. The hotel gets paid, and you get a cut. That's the business. Simple. And once you understand that, the whole thing starts to make a lot more sense. There are already websites doing this right now at scale. People land on the site, search for a location, find a hotel, make a booking, and the site owner earns a commission from that sale. So think about how powerful that is. You do not need to manage the service. You do not need to fulfill the service. You just need the platform and the traffic. That's it. And this is exactly why I think this is such an interesting model in 2026, because AI has made the actual building process dramatically easier than it used to be. A few years ago, this would have sounded way too technical for most people. Now it's actually realistic. So let's break down how this works. The first thing you need is the back-end system that powers the hotel data, booking process, pricing, and commission tracking. And one of the tools built for this is called Light API. This is the engine behind the business. What Light API does is give you access to the infrastructure you need to run a hotel booking platform or travel app without building everything from scratch yourself. It handles the hotel side of the equation. It gives you access to listings, rates, booking functionality, analytics, and commissions. So instead of hiring a full team and trying to build a travel business from zero, you're plugging into something that already has the hard parts handled. And that is a massive advantage, because once you have the back end, all you really need is the front end website or app that people actually use. That's where AI comes in. One of the easiest ways to build that front end is with an AI app builder like Base44. This tool lets you describe the app you want, and it starts generating the structure for you. So for example, you could prompt it with something simple like, create a clean, modern hotel booking site using Light API. Make it simple, easy to use, and visually clean. That's enough to get started. And by the way, that's an important lesson with AI builders in general. Do not overcomplicate the first prompt. Most people make that mistake. They try to force every detail into one giant prompt, and then wonder why the output gets messy. You are usually much better off starting simple, getting the first version built, and then improving it piece by piece. So let the AI generate the site structure first. Let it create the layout. Let it create the homepage. Let it create the hotel cards, sections, search area, and overall design. Then once you have that first version, you start refining. You change the branding. You remove sections you do not want. You improve the look. You tighten up the user experience. You make it feel like a real business. That is the move. Now, at first, the site will usually look functional, but a lot of the hotel content is going to be placeholder data. That's normal. It means the visual side is built, but the live backend still needs to be connected. So the next step is integrating Light API into the site. And this is where the app builder will usually tell you something like, this project is currently using mock data, and backend functions need to be enabled to connect the real API. At that point, you just tell it to help you set that up, and then you work through the integration. Once that part is done, the site becomes a real platform instead of just a design. Now it can pull live hotel listings. Now it can show actual room details. Now it can display real pricing. Now it can actually support the booking experience. That's the shift. This is where it goes from interesting idea to usable asset. Now, I'm not going to go line by line through the full API setup in this exact video because that turns into a much longer walkthrough. But the good news is Light API also has its own assistant that helps with setup. So think about what's happening here. You are using one AI to help build the front end and another AI to help connect the back end. That is exactly why this is such a different time to be building online businesses. A lot of the technical barriers being lowered in real time. That does not mean it takes zero effort. It still takes work. But it does mean things that used to be out of reach for normal people are now much more possible. And that is a big deal. Now, once the build side is clear, the next thing that matters is traffic. Because without traffic, none of this matters. A pretty site with no users is not a business. So how do you get people there? There are really two main routes. The first is paid traffic, things like sponsored placements, ads, and paid distribution. The second is organic traffic, and for a lot of people, this is going to be the easiest place to start. You can create content around travel recommendations, hotel recommendations, cheap travel tips, best places to stay, hidden destinations, luxury stays, budget stays, weekend getaways. All of that kind of content can bring people into your ecosystem. And once they click through to your booking site, that traffic becomes monetizable. That is how this starts turning into an actual business. And yes, there are people doing this with free traffic, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, short form and long form content. That part is real. Now let's talk about the part that makes this model even more interesting, the commission setup. With Light API, you can apply your own markup. So you're not just stuck with one tiny fixed percentage, you can actually choose how you want to price it within reason. So maybe that's 6%, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 15%. You can test what still keeps your prices competitive while also letting you earn good commissions. And obviously, if you get greedy and go too high, people are going to find cheaper options elsewhere, so you still have to be smart. But that flexibility matters, because it gives you more control over the economics of the business. And that is what makes this model different from a lot of other beginner methods people talk about. You're not just hoping for random ad revenue. You're not trying to sell a low-margin product. You're not dealing with fulfillment headaches. You are building digital infrastructure that earns when transactions happen. That is a much more interesting game. So let's make this dead simple. Step 1. Use an AI builder like Base44 to create the hotel booking site. Step 2. Connect Light API so the site can pull hotel data, support bookings, and track commissions. Step 3. Customize the design so it looks clean, modern, and trustworthy. Step 4. Get traffic to it through content or ads. That's it. That is the model. Build the asset, connect the engine, drive the traffic, earn the commission. And because AI now helps on the build side, this has become one of those business models that is way more practical in 2026 than it would have been even a few years ago. That's why I wanted to show you this, because most people are still thinking way too small when it comes to AI. They're using it for tiny little tasks, when in reality, it can help you build actual revenue-generating assets. And this is a perfect example of that. So if you want an online business model that feels more modern, more scalable, and a lot less saturated than the same old stuff everybody repeats, this is one you should pay attention to. And if you want me to break down the full setup in more detail, especially the integration side, make sure you subscribe because I'll do a deeper tutorial on that. And if this video gave you a real idea you could actually use, hit the like button and let me know in the comments if you'd try building something like this yourself. Because once you understand how the pieces fit together, this is not nearly as complicated as it sounds at first. It's actually one of those business models that becomes very clear the moment you see the system behind it. Also, before I end this video, if you want to check out other beginner-friendly easy ways to start earning online without having to wait a long time, I've linked 2 of my personal courses below. The Passive PDF Method, which teaches how to make money selling simple PDF files online, and the Facebook Income Method, which teaches how to monetize your Facebook and earn from just posting. No selling involved. And just so you know, these courses teach the 2 main online businesses, which I actively do right now. And these 2 are the ones that pay me the most out of all my online businesses. So if you want to learn what's actually working for me right now, check those out using the link in the video description or in the pinned comment. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.